Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 4 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, September 25th. So, looking back at yesterday's session, right, we had uh, actually, let's go back a couple of days of structure, right? We had good structure up or poor structure up on Monday, followed by poor structure down on Tuesday, and then more poor structure uh, on yesterday, Wednesday. So, and as we look at where we're at, right? Monday was we spent from 67 60. Let me start this over. Monday's session went from 6650 to 6700. Tuesday's session went from 6700 to 6650. Um, Thursday's or Wednesday's session went just from under 66.75, which would be the halfway back short basically, uh, down to 66.25, which was also the low end of the expected move for yesterday uh, by Thinkorswim's options calculation. And you can see that that was around the bottom for all the indexes. Not really much of a bounce of it, just no willingness really to partake much under those levels. And if we look at what went on with the structure, again, I said there was poor structure formed to the downside yesterday, and that's indeed what we have. Uh, Looking at where we're at, this candle here, and this is what the target for the bears is at this point in time. From September 17th, this FOMC candle, we'll have to see. They would like to take that low out and start hitting these untested points of control from the September contract, right? So that's basically from 6,400 up to 6,550. Let's just round it off. That's the target, but you've got to get back through this breakout level, right? This 24,276 is there, and then you've got the full uh, last measure move, and I think Jack was looking at the 38.2. I'm sure he'll be talking about that this morning, see if we're getting closer to it on that last measure move. And then you can see that the ES never did hit that previous breakout at 65.80 basically. So again, since we hit that 6,700 on the cash market, kind of just rolling back over. We haven't even went down 100 handles yet after as much as we've been up. Keep in mind that unless today gets really out of hand to the downside, which we're due for a more than a 1 sigma day eventually, and more than just like a 1.5 to 1.25 sigma day. That until it actually sets up that way, uh, potentially we're opening up at the bottom of the range today, right? We're at the expected low end of the day. We're at some poor structure marks that uh, should find something. It doesn't mean that they will. So we need to either just flush through these levels, and you can see the Russell is just now getting down to that 24, 23 right to the penny right now as we speak. So they're all going to be setting up right around these lows for the day, and I'm only doing the calculations on the toss and the ES and the NQ, but you can look them up for anything else. And then so we'll see if we have the appetite to keep going down. It's going to take a rising VIX, and the VIX is going to have to be holding above yesterday's high for us to continue down at these levels. And we'll see if we do get a flash down a little bit lower than we are now. If we can if the VIX cooperates, all of them, but remember a multiple sigma move. This is 1 sigma basically from I'll use the ES as an example from 67.25 to 66.60, right? That's 1 sigma. 2 sigmas would be a whole nother block down, right? The same thing for the Nasdaq, the NQ. So again, potentially I'm gonna let the market open up a little bit, see what the appetite is, and potentially a little bit of a look and fail, a look below and fail could be on the table if the VIX can't, chime in to the upside. Otherwise, maybe we get that, that royal flush down. Otherwise, the top of the range is expected, you know, right at yesterday's high to shortly under that, and you could potentially get an engulfing candle to the upside today. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you have to be aware that if you can't, keep going further than you're supposed to go today, if you can't go lower after going lower, you're going to go higher. It doesn't mean we're going to go substantially higher, but remember, we're day traders, right? So I would look to see right off the bat. I would expect to find resistance right around the upper set of value area low, which would be 24,690, and right around 66, um, 87 is where 85 to 87 is where I'd expect resistance if we do flash up quickly off of the open this morning. Hope this helps. We'll see what Jack's looking at next. Oh, before I get into that, let's get into positioning. Um, Sorry about that. Helps if I'm looking at the right stuff here. So, we're at a large gamma here at 592 to 600, and you can see below there, right, 590. So that would be about another 80 NQ points down to where there's much more support than we have here. So that would be an area that I would be looking to find patterns and the fair value gaps and potential reversals, or that we're just kind of beat the dead horse down. Uh, and again, for the SPY, you could potentially uh, get a little bit lower, but you're already at the put wall for the day and the week. The long-term put wall is down at 650, right? So that would be another 75 ES handles lower than we are right now, which would put you, let's just call it 5880 is where that major support is going into the end of the month. Uh, and then remember 65.05 on the cash market is if that doesn't hold it, and that is still another 140 points down below yesterday's close. We've already taken 35 off, so that'll be about another 105, 110 points lower than we are right now, just to see if we can accelerate down through there by Tuesday's close. So we've been kind of just one time framing down. I'd expect a little back and fill this morning, and then we'll see where we close and what the appetite is. But watch that VIX today. I hope this helps. We'll see what Jack's looking at next, and I'll talk. I'm sorry, I will not be here tomorrow. My apologies in advance. I'll try to post some stuff before I leave in the morning, and I'll post the grids overnight tonight as I usually do. But unfortunately, I have to go help someone out, and I will not be here tomorrow. You guys have a great day, and I'll